How are you? Hey, everyone. Hope you're doing well. And I'm here today because I wanted to kind of share a live experience of me creating these Imbolc wand, aka scepters. I collected this oak on the morning of Imbolc along with some magnolia pods, dipped them in my beeswax mix after I tied on the pods with twine. And in my beeswax mix, I did a similar herbal mix that I do when I create a puppet or a doll. And so a lot of you I know have taken my doll classes or my puppet classes. So you may be a little familiar, but I just wanted to go over that in case anyone wanted to be refreshed or haven't taken my class. So in the beeswax, I have basically like a mini crock pot that I keep my beeswax in. I make torches with it. I seal my Florida water with it. Every season I will create a new batch. So this is brand new mix that I have put together that I'll probably be using past well into Beltane, maybe even into midsummer. But this round I have put in rose, which represents love and protection, along with a natto seed, which is another medicinal herbal spice that is great for protection. So you could put it in little like charm bags and such if you're feeling like you need a little extra protection. Balm of Gilead, spirit manifestation. So these I feel are going to be, like I said, dream wands, dream scepters. And so I would suggest you leave these in your room by where you sleep. I never really recommend having an altar in your room unless it's a manifestation altar. So this would be a great centerpiece for that. And okay, so balm of Gilead. I also have dandelion root in here, and that's communication with the dead. So we, as we do our work and we get deeper into it, ancestor work is really, really key to either a deeper connection or a healthy severance from toxic family. But we want to do the communication. So if you're ready to be able to communicate and have a little extra help, dandelion root is amazing for that. Also, we have wormwood on these and in the mix, and wormwood is for calling in the spirits. So you see there's like a little bit of a difference with the balm of Gilead is spirit manifestation. Dandelion root is communication. It's having that conversation with the dead and listening, because they will send you messages through synchronicities, through dreams. Epiphanies, a lot of the times I feel are our spirits giving us that download, I call it. And then with the wormwood would be calling in. That's welcoming them. It's sending an invitation and saying, you know what, I'm ready. Let's talk. I also added in some chamomile for all intended purposes of calmness. I love the spirit of chamomile. It's probably one of my very, very, very favorite herbs. My grandmother used to wash my hair in it, like a chamomile tea that she would make, and she would wash it through my hair when I was young. And she'd always tell me an old Hungarian, I don't know if you call it a secret, but tradition to wash your hair in chamomile. And I did add a little bit of dried sage into the beeswax mix because I don't know, I felt called to put a little bit of sage in there. I don't use sage for a lot of things because I feel it's commonly in the last few years been something that like everybody goes to. I'm like, what TV show told you all to use sage? But I did crumble a little bit of sage in here, and I don't think you can be able to see it because my computer camera is horrible, but like I put a bunch of pyrite in here too. And pyrite's really great for money and abundance and things like that. And so I just feel if you listen to your prolific dreams and you honor your spirit's voices, they will guide you into a place of abundance. And that's not always necessarily meaning with material items and money. I mean, those are nice too, but also an abundance of happiness, an abundance of health. an abundance of healing, because we really can't have one without the other. So I just wanted to add those in. Also, I'm going to show you as I braid. I guess I'm going to talk because I can just talk for hours. That's why I want to do this, because it's pretty exciting. So whenever I'm creating anything from, a doll, a poppet, a mojo bib, a regal hag crown, um, sewing things, anything that I have textiles that I'm using with my hands to create something, I am going to put oils on my hands. And these ones specifically, I decided to use some of Papa Jim's. Let's see, can you see that? Papa Jim's High John the Conqueror oil. I love High John. It's got an amazing history behind it. It's very powerful. Anyone that's familiar with High John knows it just roots. And if you know what morning glories are and you had a problem with them, you know how they will just take over, right? So High John the Conqueror has that same um, energy, that same push, like you're just going to push through. You're going to go. You're going to keep going. You're going to go, go, go. So sometimes we need that. And this is a little bit of an added piece to all of what I do. I did pick purple thread. You can see some purple thread that I'm tying throughout the handles and knotting. And as I tie them with this oil on my hand, I'm keeping my thoughts in a place of bringing in whoever claims these wands or scepters to have the most prolific dreams and messages from their ancestors, from their spirits, from their soul clusters, from their guides. Whoever you work with and feel called to work with, I want to just put that extra oomph in there for you. So, I put the High John the Conqueror on my hands. I hold the branch. I hold the item that I'm about to sew or put thread through. And I'm really intentional. I'm like thinking of how amazing it is when you are able to manifest the things that you want, when you're able to heal from the wounds, from the trauma, from any shame, anything, like there's things that we hold on to from when we were in kindergarten. Why? Why? Just like, it's time to look those monsters in the eye and just be like, bye-bye. So that's what I always hope for everybody I work with or that I make things for, is that's like my purpose, is to like reignite your inner badass and to really just, I'm not saying ignore anything, but I'm saying like acknowledge it, be accountable to whatever it is, and look the monsters in the eye and say bye-bye, because you've got a whole life ahead of you, and you don't want those assholes that caused you harm to continue to leech onto you and your story going forward. And so I hope that these somehow would bring this for whoever claims these, that little boost that you need. Sometimes we just need a little physical item to really inspire us. I mean, I'm inspired when I see an old piece of fabric or cloth, or I hear a song. I mean, there's so many things that we get inspired by. So if I can be a little inspiration for you, I feel very happy. So what I've been doing is, as I wrap this, like I picked 3 threads because I would work normally in trinities. I love to work in 3s. So I picked 3 different shades of purple thread. And then what I've been doing is just doing this and then tying a knot, and then I wrap it again. I'll put on music that I love. Sometimes I'll do it in silence. I really try not to do any of this work in my bedroom. I'm in the space in my front living room where I do all my readings. My Hecate altar's up here. The Cyprian altar's up here. Some of my favorite artwork is in this room. And I'll just keep tying. I may even, like, not to project my own experiences, but I'll keep some happy experience in my head that brings me joy. Okay, I feel like I sound like that lady. Who's that lady? The declutter lady? Does it bring you joy? Well, I'm just trying to think of really happy times and happy things and things that I love while I do this. Then when I get towards the end of the twig, also like when you are looking and harvest, I guess collecting, any type of things like twigs and tree pieces, you normally really, did I already talk about that? You really want to make sure if you're collecting them off the ground, sometimes they may be dead and brittle, and that's why they fell. But if you're going to take something off of a tree, like a branch or leaves or anything, it's really important to ask for permission, let the tree know what you're going to use it for, leave an offering. That offering could be anything from some honey, some sugar, some wine, some bread. Our soundtrack ended. Let's turn the tape over. Um, you really want to get permission and be very intentional. Super important. I will probably do another video around that, like when I am burning resins and burning and using different herbs and ingredients. 90% of the time, I'm always very hyper aware of where these were harvested from and by who. I have a friend that goes over to Africa to get a lot of resins, and he does it ethically. He has actually started a program for the women over there so that they could be paid in full for what the items that they gather and collect are worth. So like thinking about things like that is important. Was this harvested by some douchebag that's just trying to get as much money as they can and they don't care? That energy is going to be in the herbs and the items that you use. I say 90% of the time because, yeah, sometimes I do like grab a little bag from, maybe the little market that I like to go to over, I always forget the name of it. One of them's Hong Kong Market. The other one is, I want to say City Market. I really love it. But sometimes I'll grab some herbs and stuff from there. But for the most part, I really try to be conscientious of where the things come from that I'm ordering, that I'm using. I have friends that are directly doing a lot of this stuff, and if you ever want links, I could send them to you. But okay, so when we get to the end of the handle, this is when I basically create a long braid. And I also have some beautiful bones that my friends Shay and Britt gifted me that they actually found out on Britt's parents' property in Mississippi near where Robert Johnson's from, which I think is super cool. So I am most likely going to tie little fragments of the vertebrae they gave me on the ends of these threads when I'm done with all 5 of these, just as a little extra backbone energy to give you when you have these, when you clean these. I sold one of these already before it was even made. I was just telling a friend about it, and they were like, here's my money. I want one. So I'll be selling these for around 30. I'm always flexible because I want all of my work to be accessible to whoever needs it. And so I'm very much open to occasionally maybe doing partial trade or anything like that, but something always should be exchanged, because I've learned over the years that when I would just give things like this away, for some reason, they wouldn't always be valued. And there's just some exchange that needs to happen. Sometimes somebody will bring me a bag of coffee beans for a reading, or for, they need some stuff. I'm flexible with all that, even though this is 100% of how, I take care of my household is through my art, through my magic, through my spiritual practice. But I want everyone that feels called to have one of these or to have whatever it is that I offer access. Oh. So yeah, then when I got to the end of that part, what I'm doing is tying it because I want to leave some space when I'm ready to put the vertebrae on. So then I just tie that once. And then before I do the third knot, I do a lot of whispering in my magic. Yeah. So, you know, it's just very simple, but very beautiful. And I'm still in awe of these. Like, I've been working on these for over a week after Mardi Gras. And yeah, I'm just waiting for them to talk to me. They almost have like little faces on them. Let me see that. Ooh. So they're very much already developing some incredible energy. So I have a few more minutes on here. I wanted to talk a little bit about a story I read about the magnolia tree because I use magnolia pods as the base. It's twined on here. There's no glue or anything used on any of this. So I tied those on, and I read an incredible story about it's a Chinese folklore. Um, so there was a village, and all of the men and boys were murdered by these soldiers, and they they kept 100 of the most beautiful women in the village alive. And what they did was whatever they wanted, of course, because that's what douchebags do. Um, and what they did was they would kill a woman a day until there were no more women left from this village. And so when they got to the 99th woman, she knew she was the last one. She started praying. She prayed all night. And she said, please let there be a sign that none of us will be forgotten. And when they woke up in the morning and they took her out, they were in shock because all of the women's bodies that had been laid out in the fields had disappeared. And there were magnolia trees where each woman's body had been. And so every time I look at a magnolia tree now, I'm going to think of that because it's such a beautiful sentiment, a beautiful idea of like remembrance and beauty and femininity, and to never forget these things that happen over time. And even currently, these types of things are happening. So I felt it would be really important to have the magnolia pod on here. I was calling them gator eggs because I thought that was funny, but really these are magnolia pods that are attached, and they really embrace the feminine, and that's something that's really important to me. The feminine being all women, trans women, anyone that identifies as femme. Um, Extra protection because, as we know, it's dangerous to be a woman, and especially a powerful woman that has her own thoughts. So, anyways, I don't want to keep y'all on here too long because I don't want to lose you. So, I love you all, and I just thought it'd be fun to start doing these little videos so you can hear me talk about my process and watch it. And I'll also be creating a post with still photos of these and with the list of everything I dipped them in with the beeswax. I use beeswax in almost all of my work. My clothes have beeswax dipped in them a little bit because I love bee energy. I love myself. I think of myself as a queen bee, and I feel like all of y'all should. And so with the beeswax, the energy of the bee is like, it's community. They're all bringing things for the queen. They're working for the queen. And so like, I think of the beeswax in that sense, in that energy, in that idea of keeping ourselves busy, keeping ourselves focused. They make such beautiful, beautiful honeycombs and medicinal honey. I mean, honey is just so medicinal. I use it in a lot of my work too for meditations and such. But yeah. And this beeswax turned to like an amber color, which is interesting because normally it's more of a yellow. I've been using this specific beeswax for about 7 years now. So yeah. All right. Well, I love you all. I appreciate you all. And we are at the 20-minute mark, and I hope to get some feedback.